Drop the brace.
Hey guys, Mike, Ryan, and Jiggy here from FullHouseRS, and welcome to a Question of the Week video. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but I've heard some things have come up recently about on the topic of wasting time in RS, as in RS is wasting time that you could not get back, so it's a bad thing. And so, do you believe that RS is a waste of time? Anybody want to pick first? Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So I was thinking about this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And let's compare it to something else that I like a lot, like lacrosse.
Power washing. That's what I was
Shut
going
the
to
fuck up.
go with. Lacrosse.
All right. So lacrosse, I played it for like 5 years, year round, and like I loved every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're a different kind of enjoyment. Like people say, oh, RS is just a grind, you're wasting your time. But the truth is, if you look at it that way, like everything's a waste of time. Like my 5 years of lacrosse was a waste of time. But I think they're different kinds of enjoyments, because something like lacrosse, I was happy the entire time I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But RuneScape, it's kind of like you work really hard to achieve something. And while the road there might be like really boring or tedious or whatever, like when you finally get it, it just like feels like the greatest feeling in the world sometimes.
Yeah.
The world's greatest. Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. It's like, but people would say like, yeah, but with lacrosse you could actually have a chance to get like become a professional lacrosse player, something like that. But not everyone's going to become a professional in anything that they do. So
I feel like I should chirp in here. People say about RS being a waste of time. Well, you know, it kind of helped me get a full-time job.
yeah, it did
So,
kind of help him.
I mean,
He works in the gaming field, if anybody didn't know.
so yeah, and part of my interview process was I was questioned on my gaming history, what games I played, and you'd be surprised at how much weight it carries that you put hours into a game doing what might seem mindless, boring tasks to some people, but to employers it shows a certain level of commitment that transfers pretty well to the workplace. So you're learning life skills, as strange as it is to say, from a game.
Strangely enough.
And some things that like RS has brought me to real life is, you know, like us, like our friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Like like you guys, like I'm better friends with you than like some people I know in real life.
Yeah, that was the topic we covered in our last question about RuneScape friends being real friends, and it is real friends. And it's like when I asked my mom a while back, I think it was like last week when I heard a lot of people complaining about just RS being a waste of time. I actually think it was because of a Tippett Times article, and then I brought it up to people, and then I heard other people talking about it. Because when you read something, it all of a sudden you like realize more of stuff that's going around you that you probably wouldn't have noticed before. Like, say you read something in a newspaper, you see a new word, all of a sudden you hear the word all around.
Yeah.
That was like this with RS wasting time, and then all of a sudden I heard everybody just going on, RS is a waste of time, that is a waste of time. I'm just like, I didn't notice that. Why is it National Make RS Waste Time Day or something? But I asked my mom what she would do as a teenager when she was a teenager, and it would be like she would play board games, she would doodle, you know, everybody, I guess you could doodle still now, she would watch TV, and she would listen to music on the radio. And you look at how she was spending her time, it's a lot like how we spend our time, it's just ours is with a little bit more technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's like her radio is, we have internet radio. Her TV, well, some people don't watch TV anymore. Some people just watch YouTube or watch streaming, you know. That's the same thing. And with her board games, video games are kind of just, you know, electronic board games.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the same thing, but they fill the same gap.
Yes, they serve the same purpose.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
And that is to enjoy your life. That's the biggest thing I think people forget. They think that, like, I'm not saying it's a terrible mindset to have, because you can go too overboard in certain aspects, but some people think that if you're not working at all, or if you're not working 24/7, then you're wasting your time. You should be working, and then when you get home, you should be thinking about working the next day.
Yeah,
That's what you should do.
and that's what I hate. Like when people look at their game time, and they're like, "Oh, if I converted that to $7 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is where you are," and it's like, "Oh, then I would have, X amount of dollars that I just wasted doing on RuneScape." It's like you wouldn't have been, you would have just done something else. It's not that you would have been working.
You would have hung yourself, because that is what happens when you first force workers to work that many hours.
Yeah, like me.
Yes, like you.
Become close at this point. I can just imagine him now, just making that pizza.
I have to make a note to make sure Ryan's okay, because I think he just said he's going to try to hang himself. This is not good.
But like, people who say, "Oh, I would have, made this amount of money," you would have just been doing something else. You would have been playing a different game like World of Warcraft or Guild Wars or League of Legends, or you would have been watching TV or doing whatever your hobby is.
No, jerking off.
Am I DC?
No.
I definitely know I would be like playing something else. RuneScape, I don't play RuneScape because I have nothing else to do. I play RuneScape because it's a game, because I'm a gamer and I enjoy gaming. And it's like, if I look at some of the games I played before I played RuneScape, or during that time when I took a break from RuneScape, I haven't put as much time as I have in RuneScape as a whole, but I've got games with like 600 to 1,000 hours on it that are single player.
It's pretty crazy.
And if you look at it that way, it's not even that much worse, the fact that it's a social aspect. So it makes sense that you'd be playing it for more, because there's more change, there's more people to interact with. Then if you can find something that you enjoy and stick with it for 1,000 hours in a single player game, why not let them enjoy that? As long as you're not completely shutting out your family and your other friends to play RS. Say like, "Oh, my grandma's in the hospital, but I gotta finish this quest first."
I had to go to a 99 party though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't do that.
Grandma, I'm sorry, Grandma. I know you're dying, but my friend's about to get a comp cape.
Oh.
And I mean,
see, if you do think we make jokes about that, but I'm sure there are some people that seriously do that. Not maybe to that.
We call them Asians.
Yeah. Yes.
God damn it, Jiggy.
No, but I mean, like, there's people who've quit school to play RuneScape full time.
Ow. Oh, yeah, didn't say anything.
This is why we haven't gained any subs recently, Jiggy.
What are you trying to tell me? We haven't got enough gains? Back on topic.
But this video is mostly to talk about the fact that, RS does have a lot of things that can seem like it is, when we make jokes about it, a waste of time, because say like doing Livid for spells that you're probably never going to use most of the time. It's like, oh, that kind of wasted my time.
Oh yeah, I did.
But it's not saying that if you enjoyed it, because he worked to do that so he could get his comp cape, which he enjoyed getting his comp cape. So see, there was enjoyment, even though Livid was just a small part of the want to kill yourself enjoyment.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I really helped out Pauline. She was really happy at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I look back at was it was probably like a month within when we started our channel that I got a comp cape.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a video called My RuneScape, where it was just like a picture of me getting all like my 99s and stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel fuzzy inside every time I watch that, because I realize like how much fun I've had over the years playing this game.
Gaming in general just has a worse stigma, because people think that you're not doing anything. You're sitting there, and it's like, oh, you're not having any real kind of, you know, any activity other than the fact that you just click something, or if you're on and like some other game, you're just, shooting people, blah blah blah. But there's a lot of mental building blocks in playing games. It's been studied. It helps your mind. It like people who have good hand-eye coordination because of video games, and even though that doesn't exactly lead to, yeah, you're going to be a great athlete, I don't think that people who spend all their time training to go to not quite pro league, like in sports, but then end up like one league under, and they spend all their time working to go that far, yet people who are really good at video games are put on a lower pedestal, like they don't have enough to work for, when sometimes they put just as much work in as the other people do. It's just not physically strenuous.
I mean, you look at the emergence of esports at the moment, mainly with League, and then of course you've got the MLG Call of Duty, MLG Halo, well, it was MLG Halo, all that kind of stuff. But like, League teams are pulling in 5-figure sums per tournament.
Yeah, and if you look at like the actual tournaments themselves, they've started to get so much production values that it looks like fucking ESPN up there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, at that point, are you going to be the one that tells that League team who's just won £95,000 between 4 people? Are you going to be the one to tell them that they just wasted their time, and they wasted their time practicing to get to that point? Because I think there's always an opportunity that if you are good at something, you can turn it into something profitable and valuable in a monetary sense.
Yeah, and especially in this day and age when it's so easy to get yourself out there. You can, if you all of a sudden just magically have a really awesome talent, it's so easy to get you exposure to everyone. Like that 2-year-old that can like trick shot basketballs.
Yeah.
I wonder if he would have gotten discovered if there wasn't the internet nowadays.
Now look at him. Now he's dunking with Channing Tatum. I mean, that's a dream come true. I'd love to dunk balls with him.
I have something else to cover. Like, I live with my parents because I'm only 20 years old. But, when I would, play RuneScape for like, 4 hours sitting or whatever, and come upstairs, get a drink, go take a shit or whatever.
Go the RS down. Life, we know, Ryan. We're all RS players here.
And they would think I was just like sitting there by myself and just not talking to anyone.
Just sitting there playing with my dick while I play RS.
I mean, that was the case, but some of the time he was also talking to us.
But I think their opinion has really changed once they met Bob. Because, like Bob knows my parents. He's been over at my house a couple times. And they're like, oh, you talk to real people.
Yep. These people actually exist. They're not virtual.
Okay, so I'm going to apologize now for when they meet me and ban you from RS.
Dude, we cannot let you talk with those British.
You let that British guy talk to you.
We beat them in a Revolutionary War. They should not be coming back over.
Yeah,
come to our country. You mocks up power washing.
I don't know why they're suddenly Asian when they're actually Italian.
My Italian accent.
Oh. It's pretty bad. I could say that my mom's also in the same boat, except she was always kind of okay with me playing games because I don't know. She's a very progressive parent. So she was very open to whatever I felt like I wanted to do. But lately I've been showing her the Skype Chronicles, and she's been loving them. So she's waiting for the next one because I told her that Jason has a doozy.
Oh, he does.
Oh, boy. But she's all like, okay, so it's like, those are your friends, right? I'm like, yeah. She goes, who are they? I was like, well, you haven't really met them. It's like, yeah, but who are they? So I'm sitting there listing like all 8 of my friends that have showed up in that video, and she goes, she's basically like, you have more friends now than you did in high school. And I'm like, pretty much.
That's exactly what my parents say. They're like, well, I know a guy from Missouri, and I know a guy from Idaho, and There's like a couple guys in England, and they're just like, what?
If anything, it has just helped us, be more in touch with some people around the world. It's like, yeah, I know everybody around the world hates us because we're Americans, but it's okay because we're proving that we're only terrible some of the time.
I think the cultural significance of video games gets kind of lost in the bullshit. Like, how else would I be talking to people hundreds of miles away from me?
Mm-hmm.
There's a fucking ocean between us.
Exactly. It's just, the fact that people can think that interacting with people on that level is a waste of time is just baffling.
At this point, it's almost like when we say something like that, everybody already knows that that's truth. It's so commonplace now to think, oh yeah, we can talk to anybody we want at any time right now. And we just, even less than 15 years, like 5 years ago, you said that to somebody, they'd freak out. They'd be like, that's a lot of money because you're going to have to pay the phone companies.
And now what? It's free.
Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just what waste is not clearly defined, and until it's never going to be clearly defined. So there's no reason to say that anything really is a waste, except for maybe living.
Living is a poor example.
Maybe living in trouble brewing. But yeah, the general consensus here, I think, is that RS really isn't a waste of time, and pretty much anything that you actually enjoy, if you're enjoying your life, then you're not wasting your time. And sometimes even when you aren't enjoying your life, you're not wasting your time. If you just hate doing something you're doing, you can work till you get to a point where you're not going to hate it so much. So there's no waste in that.
I mean, if you can bear doing something you don't want to do when you don't have to be doing it, then I don't think you're going to have an issue working in a job and doing something you don't want to have to do.
Mm-hmm. It'll just make you a stronger person in the end.
You build a tolerance.
So, like, as we just said, playing RS equals being a better person. That's what I think we basically just
said.
Yeah, pretty much
saying it.
All right. So until next time, guys. Thanks for watching. And this is Mike, Ryan, and Jiggy from FullHouseRS, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye now.
Edited by Mike Numbers.